What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cab show. Shout out to the Indianapolis Colts. Hopefully, they'll win more than 4 games this year. The season is right around the corner. Obviously, I'm a diehard Colts fan. I love the Colts. We have a new quarterback, Anthony Richardson, coming in. Some high expectations, but reality's going to set in. Look, the Indianapolis Colts haven't been good since Peyton Manning. I mean, let's just be real here. And a lot of people around the Indy area say, Andrew Luck, he was almost just as good as Peyton Manning, if not better. He just had that IQ of the game. No, he wasn't, dude. Andrew Luck was terrible. I knew when they picked up Andrew Luck, I was just like, that is a bad pick. They should not do that. The Indianapolis Colts should not pick up Andrew Luck. Everybody was like, oh, Andrew Luck, dude, he's so good in the pocket. He's so smart. His IQ's great. He got great straight A's at Stanford. Well, what does straight A's get you in the NFL? You know what I'm saying? Like, can he read coverages? Can he win a Super Bowl for the Indianapolis Colts? And the answer was no. Andrew Luck was not the guy. It's a sad reality for the Colts. But for the Indianapolis Colts, since 2016, they've had 8 consecutive starting quarterbacks that have started the season opener, and each of them have been different. 8 consecutive season openers. It's just insane to me, dude. It's kind of sad. I want to cry. I do. I just want to be like, oh my gosh, the Colts, how are we so terrible now? What happened? What went wrong? Well, really, I just think the whole organization as a whole, starting with the owner, Jim Irsay, look, we have to understand Jim Irsay. He's not, I don't believe that he's 100% involved in the Indianapolis Colts. I really don't. He's a drug addict. He's not 100% involved with it, and that just is what it is. A spade is a spade, and it's just sad reality for the Indianapolis Colts. And as long as Jim Irsay is going to own this organization, the Indianapolis Colts are not going to win another Super Bowl. They're just not. We look at the history of the Colts, right? His dad started the Colts back in Baltimore. Then he transitioned into Indy for more money, but it's all inheritance. So I just think for Jim Irsay, I lost all my respect for him and all the great players that we've had when he's owned the team, dude. It's been insane, and we've only had 1 Super Bowl. I mean, we've had Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Edgerrin James, Reggie Wayne, Bob Sanders, Gary Brackett. The list goes on and on, where it's like, how are we only winning 1 Super Bowl there? Like, the Indianapolis Colts should have won at least 2 Super Bowls. So when people bring up the Colts, oh, you guys had a great run, you won 1 Super Bowl, that's it, dude. We minimize that. That was terrible. And yes, I understand that the New England Patriots were a dynasty, but still, I just think if Coach Tony Dungy would have stayed an extra couple years, we definitely would have beat the New Orleans Saints in 2009 Super Bowl, without a doubt. And we would have won more. I really do believe that, but I just think as a whole, as the Indianapolis Colts organization, it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And now, present day, we're trying to get rid of our best player, Jonathan Taylor. Arguably the top 3 running back, the best running back in the league, where it's just like, hey, let's ship him off. Let's get a couple first-round picks. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we scooped up Jonathan Taylor in the 2nd round, 41st overall in the 2020 NFL draft. I mean, we scooped him up late. We traded up for him. I mean, we risk a lot to get Jonathan Taylor. And the reality is, why are we trying to get rid of Jonathan Taylor? I just don't understand it, dude. Like, it doesn't, why are we trying to get rid of our best player? Literally our best player. We do have until next Tuesday till Jonathan Taylor makes a decision. The Colts gave him permission to seek a trade, and obviously he has tons of teams that want him. The sky's the limit. Obviously, Miami, Buffalo Bills, and the Baltimore Ravens off the top would do great with Jonathan Taylor, obviously. But for me, being a Colts fan, it does not make sense. Why are we trying to do this? Like, what is the organization thinking as a whole? Like, straight up. Like, 8 different quarterbacks each season opener since 2016. It's just something's wrong here. I mean, we had Matt Ryan, who was terrible, dude. Like, everybody thought Matt Ryan was going to be the savior. He was washed up. He ever since he lost the Super Bowl, gave it away to Tom Brady back in 2016, Atlanta Falcons versus the New England Patriots. Ever since then, it was just like, hey, Matt Ryan, he's washed up. Phillip Rivers, another washed-up quarterback. I mean, the list goes on and on. Jacoby Brissett, another washed washed up quarterback. Like, dude, there's just been so many washed up quarterbacks, and everybody in Indy always believed in Andrew Luck, and I just didn't see it. Everyone in Indy, oh, Andrew Luck, dude, he's the next big thing. He's gonna be just as good as Peyton Manning. You watch. You'll see this, dude. No, like Andrew Luck was terrible. Like that was another bad pick that we had. So I just think overall it starts with the owner Jim Irsay. Hopefully one day he'll come to realization and get sobered up a little bit and say, hey, I want to sell the organization. Give some to my family. Obviously, give a percentage to the Indianapolis Colts, but give some to somebody who's ambitious, somebody who's a young businessman, who's business savvy, who knows how to get the right coaches, get the right players in, get the right quarterbacks in. But this season for the Indianapolis Colts, it's a huge question mark. And obviously, Anthony Richardson, we drafted him in the first round. He's 6'4", about 230, 240. Yes, he's an athlete. I want to see how he does in the pocket. The sky's the limit for this young man. I want to believe in Anthony Richardson, just like I wanted to believe in Phillip Rivers, and Matt Ryan, those type of guys. But he's a lot younger. This guy's a rookie, so there's a lot of upside for Anthony Richardson. So I'm not trying to just dog Anthony Richardson. It's just tough. In his 3 years at Florida, he had 24 touchdowns and 15 picks. So, there's not really a lot of experience here. I mean, they could have got, different guys like Thompson Robinson, the quarterback from UCLA, who currently plays on the Cleveland Browns, who was a 5th-round draft pick. So I would even like the Colts maybe even get 2 quarterbacks. Like, we need more quarterbacks. Sam Ehlinger, backup quarterback for the Colts out of Texas. I just don't see it that much. I really don't. I just think overall, dude, it's just one of them things where it's like, it's a head scratcher. What are the Colts thinking? What have they been thinking since, Irsay and Manning did not come to contract, where it's just like Irsay was like, hey, Peyton, great job you did here, but we're going to release you, Peyton, send you off. And Peyton said, all right, peace out. I'm going to go to Denver and win a Super Bowl and retire. Like that's what Peyton straight up did. And it was just a slap in the face. And it's just another miscue by Irsay where it's just like, man, like what else are we going to do? What other missteps are we not going to learn from, in the NFL draft? But I will say Josh Downs, we picked him up in the 3rd round. He's a good receiver. I do see some good highlights of this kid, this young man. I do have high expectations for him, but overall, Amari Rodgers, another receiver, who's balled out in the preseason. But our number 1 receiver, Michael Pittman Jr., would probably be a number 2 or number 3 on a different team who's actually pretty good. So for me, the Indianapolis Colts, the receiving core is kind of light. Not really many superstars there, so that's a huge question mark for me. I mean, Alec Pierce, we drafted him last year out of Cincinnati, and I picked him up on my fantasy squad like mid halfway through the season. Really didn't do much. Really didn't do much at all. So it's one of them like, Colts, what are they thinking? Like, what are they thinking here? Like, we're investing everything into Anthony Richardson, which I do think is a high risk here. It's a very high risk. There's a huge question mark for the Colts, but overall, they will not win the AFC South this year. We know that, especially without Jonathan Taylor, and I do think Jonathan Taylor is getting out of Indy, dude. And it came down to money, obviously, and Jim Irsay said, hey, if I was Jim Irsay, I'd say, hey, look, Jonathan, what do you want here? Okay, you're our best player on the Indianapolis Colts. What do you want? Like, Irsay's got the bread to cough up. But he didn't want that. He didn't want that. He'd rather, invest in Wales or invest in other stuff that's not related to the Colts organization. That's what kind of bothers me with the Colts. And it makes sense why the Colts suck, dude. Like, dude, he's just not in it, dude. He's not in it. And I'm like in shock right now where it's like, why are we trying to get rid of Jonathan Taylor? That's the huge question mark coming into this season in 2023 for the Colts. Why are we trying to get rid of Jonathan Taylor? What's the motive here? For future picks? Like, we got Jonathan Taylor in the 2nd round. That was a steal. If we could redo it, I bet he would go in the first top 10, dude. Like, it was slept on. And I think he was slept on because Wisconsin, I feel like they always breed great running backs. And I just don't understand how he dipped off into the 2nd round, dude, in the NFL draft. That's crazy for Jonathan Taylor, but for Jonathan Taylor, I don't blame him. If I'm in his shoes, I'm saying, all right, Irsay, you don't want to pay me? Well, I have teams on the hook right now that'll give me a deal, at least a 1-year, 2-year deal, whatever the case is. Imagine Jonathan Taylor on the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar and OBJ. Like, that would be insane. Or him down to Miami with Tua, even though I don't think Tua's going to pan out long-term in the NFL. or even the Bills with Josh Allen. That would be unfair, right? Josh Allen and Jonathan Taylor, dude. The Bills need a consistent one down back, and that's the guy. Jonathan Taylor's a first back here. He's the number one back wherever he goes to. So I just think overall for the Colts, it's a big question mark, and I don't know what to expect. I just don't. I don't expect the Colts to win at least 8 games at all, especially without Taylor. Now, if Taylor does end up having a deal or come back or whatever the case is, obviously I'm praying that he stays here in Indy. Yes, I do think we'd win 8 games with Taylor. But without Taylor, dude, we'll be like last year in 2022, 4-12-1. That's what the Indianapolis Colts will do. It's just like, man, like, what are they doing? We're just working backwards. We're not growing. We're not watering our plants. We're not being nutritious. We're not growing up. We're staying in the dark here, the Colts. The Colts aren't in the sun anymore. Ever since Peyton left, like I said, the Pope of Indianapolis, Peyton Manning, the savior, he left. And that was it, dude. No, we can't replace that. We'll never be able to replace Peyton Manning. We just won't. And people always thought Andrew Luck was high and mighty on Andrew Luck. And I understand Andrew Luck did Indianapolis dirty by retiring early after winning Comeback Player of the Year. Yes, I get it. But at the end of the day, I just never saw the fire in Andrew Luck. I never said, oh, man, Andrew Luck, dude, he's got a pit bull in him. He's got the dog in him. No. It was just one of them. Andrew Luck was just like out there just having fun. Like he's playing flag football. Like he's not taking it serious like a business, like a true professional. He's just out there just going through the motions and living with the results, whatever the case is. It's like, dude, this is a big business here. The NFL's a billion-dollar industry, and Andrew Luck, I just feel like was kind of just like playing around with it, was just not 100% in it, just like Irsay. So I just think, for the Colts this year, I'm praying for them that they would win more than 4 games. That's the thing, but the reality is the Indianapolis Colts will not make the playoffs this year, with or without Taylor. Obviously, if they do have Taylor coming back, yes, they would win a couple more games, absolutely. But overall, it's not going to happen. It's just not. I don't see it. I still see the same Colts that I saw from last year. I mean, preseason's only 3 games, and it really doesn't mean much in the preseason. But we kind of get to see the starting reps, who they go through. I don't see it that much. But I do see potential in Anthony Richardson, which is huge news for the Indianapolis Colts. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear that, hey, Anthony Richardson is a future quarterback here. I do believe in Anthony Richardson. My thing is I want him to stay healthy. I want him to stay in the pocket more. I don't want Anthony Richardson to be running all the time like RG3 did his rookie year in 2012. When RG3 came into the league into Washington, he went to the playoffs, lost to Seattle, blew out his knee that game, in the playoffs. And RG3 had a great rookie season, but he ran too much. So I don't want to see Anthony Richardson run all the time here and take big hits. That's one thing I don't. And that's coachable. You could say, hey, you can run, but let's not take hits. Let's go out of bounds. Let's slide. Let's not risk everything here. Quarterbacks who kind of scare me of that is like Josh Allen. Josh Allen's not afraid to get hit, but at the end of the day, those hits start to consume, and they add up. Cam Newton came in first overall pick, 2010, and Cam Newton lit the league on fire. But over time, when Cam would take these big hits, they would add up, and we saw it. And Cam's arm just wasn't the same after a while, taking huge hits. So as a quarterback, you cannot take these big hits. So Anthony Richardson needs to learn that fast and saying, hey, let's avoid the hits. You guys can call me a pussy, whatever the case is. At the end of the day, Anthony Richardson needs to play smart here with the Colts. If he wants to succeed in the next 5 to 10 years, the next decade with the Colts, he's got to play smart, not take big hits. That's how he's going to succeed. And obviously, his presence in the pocket, I want to see how he handles pressure. I want to see how he handles when 8 guys are blitzing on him and he's got to throw a quick fade or a quick out or a quick slant, whatever the route is. He's got to get it out quick, like Tom Brady used to do. 2 seconds out. Boom, out of the pocket, out of my hands. That's what I want. I don't want him to hold the ball longer because we tend to see rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. They get this mojo where it's like, oh, I can hold the ball a little longer like I did in college. No, you can't. Everybody's fast. Everybody's strong in the NFL. Like, you can't just outrun everybody your whole life. Eventually, someone's going to catch you. But, for the Colts, I mean, hey, it is what it is at this point. It's a movie that I've seen over and over again. It's the same ending. I see the Colts not making the playoffs this year. Now, there is going to be some growth. There is going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. I do think Anthony Richardson is our guy. I want to say that, right? But obviously I don't know yet, but I want to believe that Anthony Richardson is our quarterback for the next 10 years for the Indianapolis Colts. That's what I want to believe. Only started 13 games in college is kind of risky here. It's a big question mark. So it's like, oh my gosh. And getting rid of Jonathan Taylor, I'm praying that the Colts win more than 4 games. But who's going to win the AFC South is the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's my pick to win the AFC South. And I think Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to run deep this year into the playoffs. I mean, they won one game last year, which they should have lost to the Chargers in that playoff game. And they came back, battled back. And I just seen a lot of good signs with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And even them, they could even try to scoop up Jonathan Taylor. I wouldn't be surprised, even though they have ETN. But overall, Jonathan Taylor, he could go really anywhere. But, those landing destinations right now are Miami, Buffalo, and I could even see him go to the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, who doesn't want to play with Lamar? I mean, imagine that run game. Lamar, Jonathan Taylor. Dude, that would be insane. That's what Baltimore needs. They need a running back like Jonathan Taylor. They always typically have a solid defense with Harbaugh in Baltimore, but, they're lacking in that running back position. So I think Jonathan Taylor would be huge for the Baltimore Ravens, but obviously a detrimental loss for the Indianapolis Colts. It's the organization. The Colts have been messing up, and that's why there's 8 consecutive season opener different starters, quarterbacks for the Indianapolis Colts. It makes sense why it's like that. The most all-time was the Chicago Bears with 9 different starting quarterbacks for 9 seasons, and that was from 1998 to 2006. Dude, that's crazy. I don't want to be the new Chicago Bears here if I'm the Indianapolis Colts. I believe in Anthony Richardson. I believe in the Colts organization eventually. I don't right now. But, the Colts, they'll win more than 4 games. That's my prediction. I can't wait. The NFL's right around the corner. It's the Clown with Cam show. Let's go!